Hi everyone, welcome to part 2. Okay, Dominguez has just played King H8. And the reason that this is a blunder is because White now has Knight takes G7, and after King takes G7, E6. And now White has a good advantage. There's no Rook takes B2 or a check from the Queen on this long diagonal will win the Rook. And the threat of Rook D7 check is also incredibly strong, and to neutralize that, Dominguez played Rook B7. So now came Queen C3 check, King G8 and Rook D6 to defend the E pawn, and now Rook E7 attacks it again, but this was another bad inaccuracy from Dominguez thanks to time trouble, because now there's Rook takes C6 threatening Rook C8, which is winning the Queen, and it forces Queen F8 if Black wants to put up any kind of defense. And Rook C8 is how Carlsen continued, as he can now simplify to victory and make things clear-cut. And he's obviously come up with a simple winning line, but stronger was Queen C5, and there's no Rook takes E6, or Queen takes F8 check, King takes F8, Rook takes E6 is going to win a Rook. Best play goes Rook E8, but now Queen takes F8, King takes F8, Rook takes A6, Rook B8, and White has a fairly straightforward Rook and Pawn endgame win. But Rook C8 anyway. And now came Rook E8, just about forced, and Rook takes E8, Queen takes E8, Queen F6, and Queen C8 from Dominguez, which is an outright blunder. He may have been hoping to get a perpetual check on the king, but Carlsen didn't maximize on it and played here King G2. And although his advantage is still winning, better here was Queen F7 check, and after King H8, E7, and Black is completely lost. But with an open board like this and queens involved, Black has an abundance of checks, and it makes things very complicated, and to ascertain whether there's a perpetual for Black in this position is incredibly difficult. And so instead of trying to do all that, Carlsen decided to get his king safe from the Black Queen before carrying out this attack with Queen F7 check and E7, and played King G2. So now came Queen C2 check and King H3, and now Queen C5 from Dominguez, and ironically this is the move with which he makes time control, but it's also his worst blunder of the game. His only chance to try and hold out was Queen C7, but it would have been impossible to stop White from breaking through forever. E7 again here is completely crushing. So Queen C5, and now King H4 from Carlsen, restricting counterplay, but more accurate was Queen F7 check immediately, and after King H8, now playing King H4, and White is totally winning. I had a bit of an argument with some people about this sequence on Chessbomb, and I was glad to see that Fritz agreed with me, because their argument was that King H4 was fine, as White was still winning, and I didn't dispute that, but what I was saying that was playing Queen F7 check first of all, here, as Fritz recommends, was more accurate and precise and stronger chess overall, and there's no doubt about that. But anyway, back to the game continuation. King H4 is what Carlsen played, and now Queen B4, which is another bad move from Dominguez. A better defense was Queen F8, but after simply G5, White retains a winning advantage. If Queen takes F6, G takes F6, and White wins quickly with the connected pass pawns. So Queen B4 anyway is the last move played by Dominguez. And now comes Queen F7 check, finally the winning move from Carlsen. And after King H8, the only move, E7, with unstoppable threats. A queen is the perfect piece for shepherding home past pawns, and here Black has no way to stop the E-pawn. Dominguez threw in a couple of checks, but after Queen E1 check, King G5, Queen E3 check, and Queen F4, which is the only move that avoids a perpetual check, incidentally, he resigned, seeing as it's totally lost. He has no way to either stop the E-pawn from queening, or to stop himself from being mated. and there are no more constructive checks to drive the king out. If queen c5 check, now comes king h6, and the white king is actually helping to mate the black king, so it's completely counterproductive, and in fact it's a forced mate in 2 now, no matter what black does, so it's hopeless, and in any case the e-pawn is queening soon. It's going to be game over very quickly. Well, we've got a bit of time left, we may as well have a replay. So yeah, it was a Grunfeld defense, which isn't an opening I know well because I don't open with d4, but you see it a lot at the GM level. It's very popular. It's well, it has become much more popular than the King's Indian defense as a hyper-modern way to play against d4. Because as I've mentioned in previous videos, the bayonet attack has put a lot of players off the King's Indian at the top level, which is a real shame because it's a brilliant opening. The only real top GM playing it with any regularity against other GMs is Timur Rajabov, who's not at chorus this year. There's a couple of notable top level GMs who aren't at chorus for one reason or another. Rajabov isn't there, and also Aronian and Topalov as well isn't there, but that's because he has his match with Vichy coming up in April, which will be brilliant. Can't wait to see how that one goes. Personally, I'm behind Vichy. I'm a big fan of his, especially in comparison to Topalov, who I'm not a fan of after that big incident that happened with Kramnik when they were playing the World Championship match. But well, I'll talk more about that when April gets here. But anyway, this was a great game from Carlsen, who is now tied for the lead with Kramnik on 7 wins, sorry, out of 11 games, and there's 2 rounds remaining. And tomorrow, Liko is playing against Carlsen, and Kramnik is playing against Anand, which is, well, I guess you could call it like a rematch of sorts from their 2008 World Championship match. It should be good to see how it goes anyway, but I suspect it'll be a draw because Kramnik's got black. But we'll see, it should be a good game in any case. And as I said, Carlsen is playing Liko as well, which may be a draw as well. Liko is very solid, very defensive. Some people call him the modern day Petrosian, so it'll be hard to get a win out of him. But well, we'll see how it goes anyway. And then in the final round, Carlsen has got Caruana, who's the young Italian hope, and well, that should be at least a draw for Carlsen, maybe even a win. And Kramnik is playing against Karakin, and that should be fairly equal. Kramnik might have slightly better chances, so there's everything to play for now, and it should be a very interesting last couple of rounds for the tournament. So I hope to see you in Chess Bomb tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed this game. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.